back.
Rhodes was working for the then War Department with guys who had been injured badly.
All we had was a great number of injured patients coming back from the Battle of the Bulge, and they were trying to figure out ways of creating some type of musical therapy.
These young men might be in there for 6 months, and they don't have anything to do. So he decided to teach them.
He had the idea, well, wouldn't it be nice to be able to teach these guys how to play piano? And unfortunately, you can't bring a full-size piano into an Army hospital or an Air Force.
Hey, we're back. And we're talking about musical greats. So you went out and began contacting these people one by one.
Actually, more emails, just a lot of them at the same time.
Isn't it funny how people respond to emails but not to phone calls?
Well,
you ever notice that?
I'm a little old school, so I did put in the calls. Like George Duke, I called him because I've known George since I was 17. So I met him when I was 17. So that was a long-standing relationship, and we done.
That's a weird hand gesture you did for long-standing.
Well, I just met keyboard players because we're both keyboard players, and
so you're a player as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Now the truth begins to come out. So from your perspective, you're young compared to all those guys, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So these are guys you obviously idolized as you were growing up and becoming a player yourself.
Absolutely.
So when I say you reached out to them, the only reason I asked who paid for this thing, it's very interesting to me how people fund their concepts and ideas. So for instance, for some of my projects, I go out to investors, and a lot of people have trouble asking for money.
Yeah.
I don't, because I believe in what I'm doing. So I don't really feel like I'm going out, strapping somebody with a needle in their arm and forcing them to do something for me. But when I see other people, like I'm saying, this is not a cheap thing. This is an expensive thing you did, the movie and the book.
Yeah,
most filmmakers, if they could, would match a movie with a book, but they can't because they can't afford it. So I love what you did. That's the first and foremost.
And what was it? Who funded this?
He's not telling me, so I'm going to stop asking.
And by the way, he is not afraid to ask for money, because last night he asked me for $100 because he was going to buy me dinner.
Oh.
Guess what? I took the money
and didn't
buy him anything.
No.
Because my needs are greater than his in the grand scheme.
Well, that's how it worked out.
And I'll be back tonight for $200 because I want dessert tonight.
Oh,
so
I thought you were going to take me out to a nicer restaurant tonight.
Like, I'll take myself to a nicer place.
Going to take it to a nicer restaurant tonight.
You know where I ended up, believe it or not?
No.
I ended up at Jack in the Box. And you know what I had?
No.
Egg rolls.
Egg rolls at Jack in the Box.
I got to take
What a marvelous choice.
Those egg rolls are so good with some sweet and sour sauce. Oh my God.
I didn't know Jack in the Box had
Now here's the funny
rolls.
thing.
They don't have egg rolls, do
Yes,
they?
they do. And they have nice Mako bowls too with chicken and rice. But here's the thing.
I'm going to have to give you more money tonight because that sounds
I'll
very
bring you
expensive.
back some. I'll bring you back some. But they have to introduce themselves at Jack in the Box now. Hi, it's Barbara. How can I help you? And my response was by keeping your name to yourself. This is not a personal thing. You get my food, I give you some money, and I leave.
Yeah, you don't want a relationship.
I should have, because I know there was some phlegm on top of the cup of my drink. Yeah,
well,
I should have been nicer.
You should have waited. Yeah, I should have waited.
I should have been much nicer.
Should have got the food, then got smart.
I'm going to say a name. You say a word. You ready? George Benson.
A gentleman.
That's 2 words.
Yeah. I know.
Don't cheat.
I won't cheat.
All right?
Gentleman.
Stanley Clarke.
Precision.
Bob James.
Funky.
Bootsy Collins.
Funky.
Benny Worrell.
Funky.
See, now this is the thing. They all can't be funky.
We got it. We got to get
Oh,
other
they
words.
are.
They are not.
They are funky.
George
Say
Clinton.
really funky or something.
Real.
That's
Whoa.
2 words.
Well, okay. I said real.
What happened to Benny Worrell? And have you seen his documentary?
No.
Because if you haven't, I suggest you see it. Oh. He's a great keyboard player who came up with all the riffs. He was a classically trained musician who ended up on the streets. And the record executive signed all of his rights over to themselves and all of his music and royalties. And now he has nothing. But he came up with all the riffs you hear in modern music, and it makes me sick. What happened to music since you started and what you've seen, especially with the greats that are mentioned in this book? What's happened to music?
Well...
And by the way, you're going to have to answer because that's your job on this show.
Let me give him one more name.
Well,
too.
that's
Let me give him one more name for a one-word answer.
Go ahead.
Quincy Jones. Too
extraordinary.
long.
Extraordinary.
You gotta jump off
Yeah,
the boat.
just
man.
whatever
You can't
happens,
just
yeah.
stand there
it's
when it's
hard to-
sinking.
It's honestly hard
You know
to
what's
describe
bothering him?
any
You know
of
what's
these.
bothering George?
What?
He's still trying to protect Ben, who didn't show up. He's
Yeah,
still
let me tell
trying
you
to
something about
protect
Ben.
this guy.
Listen, I like Ben a lot.
Ben's got to get it together.
Ben's got to show up.
Yeah.
And by the way, he brought Jasmine with him. And
Yeah.
Jasmine's no.
Which is all right that Ben's not here.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with Jasmine.
That's right.
I kind of gave her the side glance when she wasn't looking.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Ben's not here. That's all I'm going to say. She prettied up the room. That's
Oh,
for sure.
no question. I never
Now-
wanted to see Ben
Well,
anyway.
we have a beautiful boss.
Why do you say she's your boss?
Oh, she's the boss.
What do you mean by that?
Well, she is a managing partner of the project, so
And what do you guys want to do with the project? What's the ultimate goal with this?
well, just to we wanted to create a historical resource because I couldn't believe that the rich history of the Rhodes piano had never been documented. When Ben brought it up, I said, "Oh, you got to be joking. There's some documentary, there's some book, there's something." And so I, told my daughter, go do some research and find out everything about the Rhodes, like find out if there's a film, a book, this and that. And so she did, and she said, I can't find anything really substantial, magazines.
How old is your daughter?
Now she's 27.
So this was 5 years ago. She was 22 and she's looking for stuff and she can't find it. And why do you think that is? Why do you think that the Fender Rhodes name was not hallmarked by some type of iconic book or film or
Money. Because
which brings me back to my
Right.
so you can see I'm like Fredo, only I'm not dumb like they say.
No, you're stupid. There's a
Michael.
difference.
well, it
Dumb you can fix.
Well, it boils down to money because when Ben and I talked, I said, how come you didn't go to the New Rhodes Corporation or any of these people, corporations, and find money to do it? So we didn't really know how this process would work because we're not filmmakers. We've never done it before, and we haven't done it enough to be.
Yeah,
have
but
any
you did it
success, so.
now.
Yeah.
And that's so fantastic. You actually went out and you bared
made
your
it happen.
soul and you made it happen.
And,
I'm just
I had
interested.
personal reasons because there was this crux in my life. I was diagnosed with leukemia around like late August, early September of 2008, and we did our first interview with George Duke mid-December, and I couldn't start the project right
Now,
away.
hang on a second. Wait, now we got to separate this because you just. We're at the ballpark. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. We're down by 2. Reggie Jackson comes up to bat. The pitcher sees Reggie and knows Reggie can hit the ball. He throws him a fastball. Reggie hits it. Goes out of the park. They score 4 runs, win the game. In the audience sits Barack Obama. He takes the ball as it's about to leave the park and hits it. It falls back into the field. The play is called back. The runners are called out. They lose the game. You just threw me that kind of segue when you said leukemia and interviews. You had a life-changing experience that gave you the desire to move forward with more speed than had you not been given that diagnosis. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So you had now a mission with this leukemia as an inspiration to make this process bigger, better, and real and finished. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
I want to talk about that when we come back because there, my young friend, is the story. Great.